Hey everybody, welcome back to FW22's very own The War at Home, episode 9. As with me and always, my co-founder, Tyler Egbert, acting president of FW22. Today we have two special guests. One's actually our main guest, the other one's just this random veteran that we picked up from Allendale. But either way, very grateful to have both of them. I want to start with our first guest so he can get that out of the way. But realistically, I'm more excited to get the show going on with Alex, because she is, I don't know why she's dressed up, to be honest, because she is literally like a female version of me. She has a potty mouth. She's a degenerate. She is a raging alcoholic, but she loves her time in the military and she loves her family. And so we're very grateful to have her on. But first, I'd like Scott.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Scott Valentic. I work for Allendale Treatment, and I'm an Army veteran. I served 10 years on active duty, 12 years total, and worked in law enforcement. And now I work with Outreach, greatest team ever. And we help people get the treatment they need battling addiction.
That's amazing.
Fort Wayne Distiller also, if there's any
Yeah,
hockey
I was gonna
fans in
say.
the audience. you
Yeah,
know.
that's right. I say I'm a pro hockey player jokingly, because I'm not. But yes, I do play for the Distillers. That's a good time too. And we're getting ready to go to Pittsburgh on a road trip this weekend, so it should be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alex,
Yes.
the floor is yours, dude.
I'm Alex Sharpe. I served 6 years in the Navy, active duty, from 2012 to 2018. Got out, moved to Fort Wayne.
Dang, that wasn't that long ago. It was 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
I always tell people I feel like I was literally just in Afghanistan. It's like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know, call it the PTSD, whatever you want. I feel like I was just there. I mean, I don't look like it because I was in a lot better shape, but sometimes I think about it. I'm like, I've been home now for 10 years. That's wild to me.
Mine's 20 in 2025. I went in 2005.
It doesn't feel like that long ago though, right?
It's crazy. I
I
can
feel like-
remember it like it
yeah.
was yesterday.
I feel like the time in the service just like creeps by. I don't know if just the days are long or you're just counting down, when you get out. And then I got out and my life literally
Yeah.
flashed before
Well, I feel
my
like when
eyes.
you're in, you're picking up
Yeah.
cigarette butts or whatever
All right,
stupid
you're
games.
just,
You're just waiting. And now it's like
sweeping the outside.
Making big rocks small and then
Right.
making them big again.
Tyler being rowdy in Hawaii.
Anyway,
Yeah, anyway.
Alex, you said you moved to Fort Wayne. Where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
I met my husband in the military, my first duty station, and he's from South Bend.
Okay.
Well, he has a son, prior marriage. She was also in the military. Well, she moved back here when she got out. So that's why we ended up here in Fort Wayne.
Gotcha.
So what was your rank in the Navy and what was your husband's?
At what point in time?
Well, when he first groomed you?
So he actually was my ride my very first day when I got to work.
Thanks. He was the one that was checking in.
No, he
the
wasn't my
new-
sponsor. So like I got there on a Saturday and then I had my sponsor came to pick me up from the airport, drop me off at the barracks.
So he was just hanging out the smoke pit waiting to go to the airport.
No.
To pick
He
up.
dropped me off at the barracks and they were like, okay, we'll call for a ride on Monday. We'll come pick you up. And I was a police officer. So they came to pick me up in the unit.
Damn
And he
MPs.
was on duty that day. So he came to pick me up. And that's how I met him. And he was an E5. I was E1.
Yeah, that's wild. So clearly fraternization doesn't exist in the Navy. Noted. No, actually, though, her husband, I will say, he's dope. I think he does insurance, right?
Yeah, he's in.
And I thought he was unemployed because all I see him do is golf. And they're both avid golfers. So he'll go bright and early in the morning to golf. She plays mom. Then he comes home, plays dad. She goes golf. And I'm like, they're not only like they're best friends, but they just have a really good, I guess since he groomed you guys have really good camaraderie, So
Yeah.
Can you think of like any other term to say other than groom?
Yeah.
well,
at-
that's
At some point, you have to say you're just joking.
I am
just joking.
I am just joking, but no, I think that's awesome, and I can't wait to get him more involved too because he's wild.
Oh yeah.
This is how I know this dude's nuts. He wore an all white jumpsuit to a Notre Dame football game, spilt nothing on it. Beers,
He ate like
nachos,
this
that's
all day.
wild.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
That's so very impressive, and he's a great golfer. So
He is a good golfer.
He will be-
He practices 6 times a week, so
that's what
he
I'm
should
saying.
be good.
He will be instrumental at FW22's first annual golf outing next year.
Yes.
That you're going to be
Yeah.
heading.
Well, we have a lot of support. All of our friends are golfers. All of Nick's coworkers are golfers. We're members at the Orchard Ridge Golf Club, and there's quite a few veterans that go there as well.
It's wild.
So you grew up in Cleveland. You went through school and everything in Cleveland?
Yeah, so just elementary, middle school, and high school. And then at 17, I signed for the Navy. And as soon as I graduated, I left and haven't been back since.
What made you want to serve, and what made you choose the Navy?
So I grew up around really accomplished friends. They all had a lot of money,
Okay.
and they were all very, very smart.
Okay.
And so you just think in your mind that, hey, I'm going to go to college, and then all of a sudden it's time. And I'm like, I don't have money or the grades to get in college. I always had in the back of my brain, I'm like, it's so cool. I love military movies. And so when it started to come that time, I'm like, wow, Alex, you need to get your shit together, figure out what you're going to do with your life. So I went in, and the Air Force wasn't there. I never even considered the Marines or the Army.
Oh, you mean to the recruiter?
Yeah.
The Air Force was
recruiter?
golfing
The Air
too.
Force was
Yeah,
gone.
they were busy golfing.
And
Yeah.
so it was down to those two, and the Navy recruiter was there, and he kind of just gave it to me straight. He didn't really tell me any lies, and I'm like, well, I'm going to sign anyways. So he's like, well, we're going to need your parents' signature if you're not 18. So I had to get both my mom and my dad. And then I signed my junior year and left as soon as I graduated.
Did you pick MP, or did they pick that for you?
So I went in with very little knowledge. Don't pick undesignated,
Yeah.
and don't pick a bosun mate.
Okay.
That's all I knew. I had an idea of something I'd like to do, and MA came up and they're like, oh, well, you qualify for this. And I'm like, what do they do? And like, oh, I get to shoot guns, and it's a really cool rate.
What'd you call it? MA? What's
MA, Master at Arms.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
So
So
it's
not-
like
So you
military
guys-
police
MP.
officer,
Okay,
Master at
that-
Arms. It's the
okay.
same thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, that seems cool. I'll do that. Signed.
When you don't have to go into super detail, but like, how was your upbringing? Like, was mom and dad both in the home? Was like good, get in trouble, not get in trouble?
I grew up in a split home. My dad was remarried to my stepmom my whole life, and my mom was remarried to my stepdad my whole life. So did the back and forth thing. It was your average split home. They did a little bit better than most parents, I would say. For the most part, they got along and put me first.
It's good.
But I'm the oldest out of 6 siblings.
Okay.
So there's quite a few. My mom has 4, and my dad has 2. Yeah, 5 or 6.
And you said you've never been back. So you said earlier.
To live there?
Yeah. So you still
No,
like
I've
go and
never
visit
been-
and stuff though.
Yeah, I still go and visit. Yeah, my mom, she's a very hands-on grandma. So like once a month she asked for my daughter, and I'm like, yeah. So we meet up in like Toledo area. She comes and picks her up. She comes to holidays. All that. We're still like 3.5 hours away. Like they can
Yeah.
get to me way closer.
That's not too crazy.
No, it's not bad.
So this is I'm only going to say this briefly because I don't like to admit it often, but it's like I don't mind admitting this part. Wait, what? You should mention Tyler's kid here. Yeah, if you see me smiling, there's a baby here. We've never had this before.
Or hear the background noise. Which
So I'm not
is
sure if you guys will be able to hear it, but it's quite intense. His father was actually like my father growing up. His father was Navy. All of our friends, for whatever reason, they all went to the Marine Corps. I was the one that was going to the Navy, which is funny because he bullied me about it. And I went to MEPS and everything, and I found out I thought it was gonna be something cool, and then I found I was gonna be a cook. And I was like, so I took a bus.
What'd you do in the
you were
Army?
going for like firefighter or something.
It was
like
SWCC, Special Warcraft Combat Carrier.
Oh, okay.
So machine guns on a boat in the Navy. So I'm like, let's do it.
Mm.
And then when I get to MEPS and they're reading what it's going to be, it was not that. It said culinary arts. I didn't know what that was.
Culinary arts.
I
You got
was,
bamboozled by the
dude,
recruiter.
I went home so fast. I had like recruiters banging on our door. But I really wanted to go to the Navy because the Marine Corps, I'm like, I'm good on that. No thanks. And, his father was Navy, so it would have been cool. But then ultimately I went to the Marine Corps, which I'm happy. I was, somewhat happy. I was happy at the time. Then I get out, what can I do other than waterboard somebody? It's like not really a job for that. But no, I do happy I went to the Marines because that sense of pride. But yeah, I was almost in the
so
Navy.
they were going to give you a cook in the Navy. What did they give you in the Marines?
So I went open contract in the Marines.
Oh, that's
Which
that's
means-
smart.
So I ended up being
0311.
yeah. So I ended up being motor T, which is awesome. But then when we deployed, we hate MPs in the Marines because they
Well,
actually gives us speeding tickets.
Everybody hates the MPs.
I don't
Yeah,
like
so it
them.
was always like, how can I sneak out of base and get back without getting arrested? But not just them, but the Japanese police. And so when we deployed, like our whole training leading up to it, we're now partnered with MPs who we used to get drunk and fist fight, and now we have to be best friends. So that was wild. And then obviously when you drive in the Afghanistan, it's all IED. So I mean, that's why I can't feel my legs half the time. That's great, but it worked out. Ultimately, I wanted to be EOD. And I actually almost was ready to re-enlist to be a drill instructor, but ultimately chose to come home and have a life with my kid. But yeah, so it all worked out, but don't ever go open contract because it's wild.
Is that like undesignated for us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so like
same thing. Yeah, so the one thing I was told not to do, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Like our mutual friend, Justin, growing up, he was real big in photos and photography, and he wanted to be combat cameraman. And it was like an 18-month wait to go. So he did open contract, boom, 0311, 5-year contract. He's like, what the
yeah.
I don't want this. So don't go open contract. Just wait next time.
Yeah. There's a job that's going to come open sooner or later.
Yeah, it was wild. I didn't even know I was motor T till like the 3 weeks before graduation, and we're filling out paperwork and like 3511. I'm like, I don't know what this is. Or like truck driver. I'm like, the hell's a truck driver in the military? And then I realized it's setting up and breaking down 7 tons, and I'm like, this is stupid.
So our open contract, which is undesignated, they just get sent to aircraft carriers.
Okay.
And like they're pretty much painting the ships, what the boats and mates do. But like you're really at the mercy of the Navy because
Yeah.
they can just tell you whatever they want.
That's
you to
really what
do.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were 17 and you needed your mom and dad to sign. Were you still a junior in high school? Or were you a senior?
I believe it was my junior summerish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went through school
Yeah.
and basically had a
Yeah.
ship
So
date.
like I definitely was signed by my senior year because I did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So I think I needed like government and one other
You
class
knew
to
you were on your
graduate.
way
And
out the door.
and yeah.
You knew you
So
had a paycheck coming.
going into my senior year, I think I dropped like 3 classes. I was like, replace it with a study hall.
Sure,
I had
yeah.
like 4 lunches and literally only needed to pass government and was like another English class, I think.
Yeah.
So
How soon after you graduated did you leave?
I left in August. So it was like the first week of August. So I left a little bit before everybody left for college.
Great Lakes, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the only basic training for the Navy?
Yeah.
Was it
They're-
Annapolis or whatever?
No,
No,
they
it's-
had
it's
that's
in,
a
That's the academy.
that's where the
But
officers
isn't that
go.
also at Great Lakes?
No.
No,
No?
that's Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. So you went to Great Lakes.
Yes.
Very well.
They used to have a couple of boot camps. Now they just have one.
Okay.
Like back in the day. I
So
think.
what was that like? What's Navy boot camp like?
That's what I'm saying.
I would say chaos. I don't know how this happened, but somehow I got put into this all-female division. So there was just like no men. It was just like 90 of us girls.
And you had those terrible haircuts. 'Cause I saw that
Oh
picture
my
you had.
gosh.
They make you get haircuts?
So they did make us get haircuts. So like
I hope Noah can pull this
at the
picture up when he
at the
edits
time,
this.
your hair couldn't touch the bottom of your collar if you were a female,
Okay.
or it had to be in a bun. So they didn't really teach us how to put our hair in buns. So they would just cut everybody's hair. So it was maybe less work, I guess, with all the
Yeah.
females that were in there. Well, they stopped that like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. So they no longer give you these haircuts, but it was bad.
With her permission, Noah, I'm going to send you that photo and I want you to attach. It's great.
So
And
they
she
cut it
made
like
fun of
right
herself
here. So I
first.
already went to boot camp with my haircut.
Okay.
Them just making, a point out of us.
Yeah.
They're going to cut it again. So like I looked like Willy Wonka
Yeah.
from the Charlie and the
It's
Chocolate
awesome.
Factory. Or what else did my friends call me? Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
Yes.
Like it's just the worst haircut.
I
With
was
the bangs?
awesome.
Do you have the bangs?
I didn't have any bangs, but it was just like, it was straight, but like we didn't have straighteners or anything in there. So like the bottom of it would like curl
like
a little
frizz
bit.
out.
Is dope. When I saw
Yeah.
that on Facebook the other day, I was like, bro.
Yeah, it's I like make fun of myself because like that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at least if I come with the jokes, like I'm not gonna get
Right. You guys were all in it together.
yeah.
So how many weeks is Navy basic?
8 weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, I went in August and I got out in October.
And then on to straight, what do they call is there a generic term for like?
A school.
Yeah, A school.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
so my
thinking
A
of.
school was in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
It was at Lackland Air Force Base,
Cool.
and that was another 8 weeks.
So short pipeline for you.
It was
Okay.
there was no C school. The only C school that we had was K9,
Gotcha.
and they only selected like 2 per class.
Okay.
So yeah, and then from there I went to my first duty station, which was in Fallon, Nevada.
Okay.
What
I-
city?
Fallon, Nevada.
Okay.
It's like 60 miles out of Reno.
Did
Going
they
south.
did they
Nowhere.
give you guys like a chance to pick different places you would want to go?
So yes, it was based off of our first 3 tests that we took at A school.
Okay.
I failed my first test.
Oh.
It was the OC spray. Like
I
you
was going to
had,
ask you about that.
it was OC spray. So like, they had to OCU and then you had to like name the canister and just like a bunch of stuff that
Yeah.
you don't.
Nomenclature stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I
just
failed
keep
it.
your eyes open.
Yeah,
to-
I didn't feel like that part of it. I just failed like I couldn't name what was like on the
Yeah.
canister.
Uh-huh.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so it put me dead last
Oh,
in picking orders. And
that's why you got sent to. Can you
was just-
describe? Because a lot of people don't know
yeah,
about Fallon. Can
Yeah.
you?
I was
just
hold
gonna
my
ask.
palms for
That's
us.
what I was going to
Yes,
ask. Is
yeah.
it a shithole?
Okay.
Is it nice?
No.
so it is.
Sometimes, ugh.
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the desert, the high desert.
How far from Vegas?
So from Vegas, it was 6 hours.
Oh, okay.
But it was we went to Reno. Like that was our Vegas. It was pretty much Vegas, but like white
Still,
trash.
What, 2-3 hours away?
No, it was only 60 miles away. So
Oh,
like
that's
It's not bad.
it wasn't terrible. It was about 4 hours from San Francisco, 6 hours from Vegas, an hour from Reno. Boise, Idaho wasn't that far away. I think it was 12 to like Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So it was decent to cool things.
Yeah.
Why do you know about it?
Company I used to work for, they have a plant there.
Okay, because I was going to say, you sound like you're
Did
pretty
you work
familiar.
for Steel Dynamics?
I did.
Yeah.
New
So-
Millennium Building Systems has a
Okay.
plant.
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
So actually, one of our friends who we met out there, we moved out here. We didn't even know she worked there, and she
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, I'm coming to your hometown." We're like, "For what?" She's like, "Oh, I work at Steel Dynamics." I'm like, "Really? That's down the road from me." So she's come to visit us a few times.
That's dope.
So you get there, and what's your first assignment? So like, are you an E1 still at this point?
E1, E2.
E1
So
or
I don't know
E2.
how your guys' rank system
Well,
goes. Ours goes 996, 9 months as an E1, 9 months as an E2, and then 6 months as an E3.
Yeah, I don't
Well, I have a
remember.
question. So your husband picked you up there, which means he also failed his test if he was already in fire.
No,
Why do
he
you want to
didn't.
go there?
So
Yeah.
no, he had already been in the Navy for like 5 years.
Okay.
So he came from, well, he was already there for like a year by the
I
time
was
I
like,
got
why the
there.
hell would he pick that
You went
place?
to a good duty station first.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know how it works with you guys. So we do seashore rotations. So like at the time it was 3 years sea, 3 years shore. So he had just gotten off of sea duty orders. I think he had just come from Bahrain.
So he was just on a boat.
No. So our sea, so since we're MAs,
Uh-huh.
they don't need a lot of us on ships. Like you can
Okay.
only have so much security. So like for our overseas, we could go to Greece or Spain or Italy.
Oh, so pretty cool assignment.
Yeah. So and just
Yeah,
depending
that sounds
on,
great.
It does.
well, you had the chance to join the Navy.
Yeah, only
and
time
you
I had to
joined
go
the
somewhere
Marines.
nice.
yeah,
I
you
took
could have been.
vacation.
Yeah,
You could have
you
been cooking
could've-
in Bahrain, dude.
Hey, and that
Yeah.
was one of the things my recruiter said. He said, "Do you want to sleep on a boat or do you want to sleep in the dirt?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I think I want to sleep on a boat."
Yeah. So when you guys are in the Navy, do you guys talk a lot of shit about Marines?
Yes and no. So during my time, I didn't really have much interaction with Marines.
Probably they kept them close guard.
Well,
and
they
hidden
had
from lateral.
Locked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when
they had
weren't
a
working.
division that's in Bahrain that's just there ready to deploy.
Mhm.
So when I was there, like
Fast.
when I was there, like they would just do nothing but work out all day, every day.
Sounds like fast.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. No, because I know like when we were in the Marine Corps, we talked shit about everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But our best friend was always the Navy corpsman. And some of them were
that's because you
more
guys don't have
badass than
your own
Marines.
corpsmen. Like
Uh-uh.
you guys use our corpsmen.
Yeah, they were all Navy.
FMF is what we called them. FMF corpsmen. They would deploy with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elite Marine Force, Jared.
Okay.
Hey, look at you.
I'm
Yeah.
glad he's here because he's
Look
helping
at
me a
you.
lot
Yeah,
too.
he
Yeah.
loves
He was
acronyms. I'm just like, I don't know. Our
Yeah.
corpsman was great. I mean, that guy got more fist fights than us. Like he always had our backs. Like
Yeah.
he was
Everyone
great.
IVs in the morning.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
he was clutch. He was
Yeah.
always
I've met
passing out
some
condoms
pretty
and
great corpsmen.
yeah, I miss him. He's probably dead. He definitely has probably OD'd and died. And then in the Marine
But
Corps,
we hope not.
yeah, I hope not. He was so crazy. Like he'd been like, I don't know your rank, but he had been like the lowest rank for like 11 years. And I'm like, how is this guy? Like he'd be like looking at the medicine and be like, did I already give you this? Like I got the flu shot in my nose 4 times in like 1 month. And he's like, just sign this. I'm like, bro, this dude's still drunk.
Yeah.
He was awesome though. So just, yeah, I love the corpsman.
It's funny.
I love Noah's father skills.
So Fallon did you spend 3 years there?
Yeah, I was there for 3 years.
And what
Okay.
was your jobs there? Like, what was your assignment?
So we did a lot of gate securities.
What was
Pulling in
there?
the
Like,
trucks.
What navy?
So
was it like
it's actually where
naval
Top
air
Gun's
station
at.
or something?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
actually where Top Gun's at.
Okay.
The real Top Gun.
Got you.
Not the Tom Cruise Top Gun.
No, I mean, well, this
I
is
think of that as the real Top Gun.
well, in the movie they say it used to be in Miramar, California. Then they moved
Marine
it.
Corps base.
Yeah, then they moved it to Fallon. I don't know, probably in the 80s or 90s.
Okay.
And so we have a lot of CAGs, carrier air groups, that come there for training. They bring all their planes, all their troops, and they're there for a month at a time. So a lot of the barracks and stuff was not permanent sailors there,
Yeah,
just
that
there.
makes
They would
sense.
come from California, they would come from Lemoore, they'd come from Virginia, they'd come from everywhere.
Okay.
And it was usually right before they were supposed to go on deployment.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So they're probably a little rowdy. If anyone
Yeah,
knows
we
how
used to, like, make
deployment
jokes.
cycles go.
Yeah, we used to make jokes
Yeah.
like they would come to Fallon and like pretend it was Cancun
Yeah.
and like
Sounds
the
great.
calls and stuff. Like, so yeah, I still a lot of like security watches for the gates. But also we were cops. We got a lot of like underage drinking, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Were you getting dispatched to like houses on base or like things on base? Well, what do they call them?
Probably a lot of
base?
domestic
Yeah.
disputes.
They call it a post or a base?
Yeah, we did have base housing right next door.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of the sailors lived there because there was not much.
Not a lot of
Yeah,
places
there's
to live
not a
outside.
lot of places to live. So we did have calls, domestic
I want
violence.
to say one of our good buddies was an MP, and he's like, dude, every weekend it's like 17 domestic calls, and I'm like, dude, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Well,
It's
I mean,
divorce rate in the military is like
I mean,
50%.
I get
oh,
it.
it's higher than that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm
yeah.
willing to bet it's probably in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm a prime example. I went to military marriage boot camp, married a female Marine, still got divorced. Worst decision ever made.
What did you think was going to happen?
Happily ever after.
Really?
That's what
Really?
I said at the courthouse.
After your first duty station, where did they send you and where did they send her?
Well, it was her first duty station. So like I was also like Nick, and I wouldn't talk to her because of fraternization. And then my
Right.
sergeant goes, "Bro, she's not even in your unit." And I was like, "I'm a non-commissioned officer. She's a PFC." And he's like, "Dude, she's
Right.
not in your unit."
Right.
He was a motard.
Yeah, that's all I was actually. That's all it
Yeah.
took, and it
I didn't
happened.
know. I didn't know
and-
she was a Marine too.
Yeah, and what was crazy
That
too
was his
is
first mistake.
yeah, well, dude, and I always preach against it. But I should have known because I'm in the Onslow County Courthouse in North Carolina. I didn't wear a uniform because that's weird. She wore a uniform. My best man was just my staff NCO, and same with her. It was weird. Never again. But we had to do a marriage boot camp to like before we could get the blessing to get married, which was stupid.
As a part of the church or the Marines?
Marines.
Really?
Like, hey, to take this course. It was like 8 weeks. It was the problem was I was 23 with deployments under my belt. She was 19, fresh out of high school, ready to serve her country. And I'm over here having PTSD that her fucking camis are in the corner, balled
Right.
up. And I'm over here like IPing them and press. It was a disaster, but it all works out. I'm happy
Right.
it is the way it is. And so, yeah, I get it.
I've never heard of marriage boot camp.
It's just
Yeah, I
so
haven't
stupid.
Either. I haven't
Yeah.
either.
Must
It was-
have been a Camp Lejeune thing.
It was. It was stupid.
Well, probably because they have all the young guys getting married right out of boot camp to get
Yeah.
out of the barracks. So they're like, hey, let's put them through this marriage boot camp. But what happens if you didn't pass it? Like, what could they do?
Well, it's just like anything in the Marine Corps. You don't really not pass it. They kind of just You know,
I
like
guess. I mean,
everyone passes, but
that seems very marine
But it
like.
sounds
think
like an attempt to try to maybe help strengthen those relationships.
it was,
Like,
that's
it's a
what
good
it
thing.
was honestly, it's because the divorce rate in the military is so
Yeah.
high. Like, really think about what you're doing before
Yeah.
you do it.
Good on
All
them.
I knew was BAH, getting the hell out of here. I was tired of being a corporal. I was like one of 3 corporals for 800 Marines. So every 3 days I was on duty, living on base. If I could be married and have my own house and not live
Right.
on base, like,
No, yeah.
give me that freedom.
I definitely remember
so-
that. Actually, when I got to my first duty station, there was 3 of us who were all coming from boot camp, and I left the only one not married or with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I never thought I'd do it. I think it's because, honestly, I lived in Japan for 3 years. So to finally come home, see an American that just happened to be a diehard Packers fan like me
Right.
from Wisconsin, her telling me stories about her dad and Brett Favre, I'm like in heaven.
Right. Yeah, we definitely all,
You
we've all
know?
been there, man.
So at the time,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
The
But
Afghan died.
yeah, looking back, I'm like, oh, what'd you do?
So, did you ever respond to calls in like in housing, and then they try to pull rank on you? Like,
That's a good question, dude.
you know, I always
Yeah.
wondered that, right?
Yeah.
Or like dependents, or like, you know who my husband
Yeah,
is?
or that.
Yeah.
or
So
that.
yeah, not calls in housing, but what we would get a lot, we would do random vehicle inspections.
Mhm.
You know, because terrorism never stops.
Sure.
So we did one on Christmas, and it was a high-ranking officer.
That's crappy, by the way.
Well, I don't make them. Okay, I just looked in the RAM book, and it says this time. I
Okay.
don't make those. However, we pulled him over, did a random vehicle inspection.
Can't be like, oh, I forgot. It's December 24th.
I mean,
He had a
I'd
bunch of
take a
he had a bunch of
for
meth,
that.
didn't he?
no, he had
Ball
nothing.
gags?
He had nothing.
Oh.
He was just upset that we pulled him over.
Oh, I bet.
However,
All right.
our security officer, who was probably one of the best bosses I've ever had, gave him the business and
Yeah.
said pretty much terrorism doesn't stop on Christmas
Got it.
just because
I hope we name that this episode.
you're
That's
high
awesome.
ranking. Yeah. So, and
Were-
but she
like
was awesome.
Like Colonel.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. So like,
Or sorry. What is it? Captain for you guys?
No,
Full birds and
so-
captain.
it wasn't our captain. I don't know, but he was very high up there.
Okay.
Like he lived on base, like on a farm.
Okay.
That was like on the base. So, but I don't. But he didn't
That
really.
sounds
He
dope.
wasn't over
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So I just know he was high up there.
Okay.
Did you guys ever do health and comforts where you like search the barracks and stuff?
I never did.
We had wild
so we had
times.
like
It's on
so like
Bill-
some of the shore duty personnel, or like just random like boatswain mates or whatever, and so they would like work the barracks where they would do like inspections, the whatever they did, the health and comfort.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
in Japan, like spice was a really big thing. Like it was bad. I mean, we had Marine. I mean, we had NCIS always in our barracks,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and so whenever we do a health and comfort, it's like everybody, you're off work for the day and you're sitting Indian style all day long while all the NCOs and police and dogs go through. And I'd be carrying this box, and it'd be like guys, dildos, like this is the craziest stuff, dirty underwear, blow dart guns from Africa. And so we
Like that you found.
so like the
in
first sergeant would be
inspections?
holding, yeah, like obviously it wasn't for their personal use, they're just being funny Marines.
Yeah.
But they'd have like this giant double header, and whose is this? And everyone's like, oh, not ours. Or
I got a sword confiscated.
yeah,
One time.
and
Sword?
like
Yeah.
we had a unit that just got back from Africa, so they had like legit blow dart guns, and we're just like,
How
what
were your
the-
I
guys' barracks? Did you
absolutely
guys like
believe all
share
that.
like a bay, or did you guys have like separate rooms?
It was like, well, so I was a corporal at the time, so I had my own room. But prior to that, it was like sometimes 6 of us in a 2-bedroom room.
Well, I know in like Japan, some
like
of those
4
barracks
stories.
are way older.
Oh, they should have
Oh,
been
yeah.
condemned.
Yeah,
and it
so-
sucked. When I went to North Carolina, it was cool because it was just 2 Marines to a room, and we had like our own shower. We used to
Mhm.
share a community shower, so now I have my own shower.
That's nice.
Which they were poorly built, because when I would sneak my soon-to-be wife at the time in, the things that hold your soap broke off. It was just poorly constructed, and so I'm like,
Well,
what-
how
I don't
old were
think-
the
yeah.
barracks? Were they from like the 40s?
No, we had moved into a brand new
I'm
barrack
not sure
room.
that was the.
It was
the
a brand
building
new.
material
No, it
that
was
the
brand
issue
new.
here, but
But
Yes.
what was crazy is like we had coffin racks, if you know what that is. So like the bed lifts up, and that's where you store everything.
Yeah.
I hated it. We stayed on an Air Force base one time, and I was in heaven. I was like, I don't know why I joined the Marine Corps. This is stupid. I mean, they had like their own coffee. It was great. But no, health and comforts.
Even Navy base, like White Beach. I don't know. Did you ever go to Okinawa at all?
I did not. My husband was in Japan. He was in
You probably Iwakuni.
no
No?
There's another
Yakuska,
one. Yeah, Yakuska.
Yeah.
maybe.
That's the big
I feel like
naval-
that's
that's the
wrong.
big naval-
What's the other one? Sasebo. He was in
Just
Sasebo.
don't go to
I don't know
Okinawa.
what
It's
that
He was in
it's
Sasebo.
wild.
Iwakuni, that's an air station.
Yeah.
The other one that you said, that's a shipyard. I don't know about
Sasebo,
Sasebo.
Japan.
I just know this idiot
I
who
think it's like a
plays
little island or
who
something.
plays victim all the time took a boat to Japan and almost got us arrested.
I didn't take a boat to Japan.
Oh, you flew there?
Yeah,
For what?
because we were on a UDP.
Oh, I thought you took a
Remember
boat.
I was at Hanson for
No, I
a year and a
remember.
half.
Everybody remembers. All
Yeah.
of Okinawa remembers when you were there, Tyler. So,
No one else. Anyway.
anyways,
Yeah.
So
dude, some of
that's funny. So are you going to like schools, like trainings, like that are a part of your job while you're there in those first few years?
Yeah, actually, they did send us to some schools. Like they would train us with some of the police officers out in town.
Okay.
You know, if something ever bad happened where they had to like close the base down and
Sure.
we would have to call them. Some domestic violence classes. I had to get like qualified for everything that we were doing. So like all your weapons,
Yeah.
your gates, your armory, patrol officer, which was a whole, they made us learn real law
Yeah.
to become a patrol officer qualified.
Nice.
So I think up to a point like E5, I think after E5, then you had to become watch commander qualified, and then it would just go up from there.
And you did 6 years?
Yes,
And when you got home, you're like, I want to be FWPD?
absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some MPs, or what do you call them, MAs?
MAs, MPs,
They take
same
that
thing.
to heart. Like, they think they are the
Yeah.
law.
No, I loved my time as an MA, but it just wasn't for me. Like, I don't care if you ran that stop sign. I ran that stop sign this morning.
That's what
I
I'm
was
talking about.
a great sailor, but like a terrible police officer. Because I'm not that type of person. Like, I don't care if you're following the rules or not. So, and it was sometimes I was forced. I'm not going to pull somebody over, and they're like, you need to, not quotas, but like you need to start doing something while
Like
you're
have
on.
activity.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, we're just ruining their days. Like these are our friends, So
Not our MPs. They wanted to
yeah. Oh, and
give
some
you the green weenie at
right,
all times.
some are like that, but not the ones I hung around. Absolutely not.
So what rank were
She hung out
you?
with the dirtbags.
What
Yeah.
rank were you
she's,
when
she's our
you
type of people.
when you left?
When I left Bahrain, or when I
or
left Fallon,
Yeah.
E5.
And where did you go?
I went to Bahrain.
So isn't making E5 in 3 years? That's pretty fast, right?
Well, I said I was a great sailor.
Yeah,
I just wasn't a good MA.
When you hear what she's done in life, she doesn't F around, dude. She's on
Right?
it. She's
Like,
very.
that's
You get
fast tracking.
meritorious
Yeah.
at all?
No, so it's 996, 9 months as an E1, 9 months as an E2, 6 months as an E3. That's
Okay.
automatic. And then after E3, you have to start taking tests.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the ratio, but it's like half knowledge of your rate and half knowledge of Navy.
Mm.
Okay.
Plus you get evals and they
Mhm.
kind of mix it in with your,
Pros and cons. Is that what you guys call
so
it?
it's like a report card.
Okay, yeah.
And pretty much saying like what you did for the year, and they base you off of an EP, which is early promotion, the best you can get, and then the worst you can get is called like an SP, significant problems.
Okay.
So it somehow puts it all together, and then you get like your test scores, and then any flocks or NAMs that you got that would go in there as well. And then so I got E4, was E4 for a year, and then they let you take the test for E5.
Mhm.
And so I left as an E5.
You little badass, you.
And you go to Bahrain, so that's really interesting. What's that like?
So completely opposite there. I was harbor security there. So we provided security for the ships and the barges, anything that would come in to our base. So
Okay.
a lot of like foreign ships, Navy ships, if they were out, they stop there, they stop in Dubai.
Do you have to go through the ships and inspect what they're bringing?
If it is a foreign ship, yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, every time we'd go to Korea from Japan, they'd be like, you can't bring nothing. We're like, fine. They board our ship and it's porno mags, chew, cigarette. You can't bring anything. And you're like, this is stupid.
I saw some gross stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I've seen some gross
we
stuff.
we had this. I always talk highly about Okinawan Marines compared to like stateside Marines because we just had a higher level of discipline because we didn't have the luxury and freedoms, and we got this stupid Marine that came from Okinawa. So I talked so high about him. Never met him. He was not a good Marine, and in fact, we went to go on a deployment. Anytime Kim Jong-un would threaten to blow up South Korea, we'd have to, and always happened to be the weekend.
Always.
And so, but this Marine was UA, right? You know, like AWOL, and all the MPs had to go to his room to figure out where this dipshit went, and we busted through his wall locker, and we discovered that he'd been talking to this chick from the Philippines forever, bro. This is so gross. He had a whole Foot Locker full of her on that time of the month stained underwear. As soon as those doors open, it just hit you. We're all gagging, crying, puking. We're like, we can't wait to. So I can only imagine what you were finding because the Marine Corps, like, there's some dirty people out there.
So I wasn't doing inspections for like actual sailors. Like we were doing it for like
foreigners and stuff.
foreign countries.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, like a
Oh,
ship
they're
comes in
even
from
worse,
another
though.
country and you're doing
I mean, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here.
You
but
can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an
And
open.
like it's 130 degrees.
I was
Like
just
there's
gonna
no air.
say.
There's no AC on there. They, there's cockroaches and everything is disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's
those smells.
yeah. It's I don't miss that.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
we'd have to go like below deck and it was just so hot and like it smells like trash. I'm sweating. I have all my gear on. I'm just like panicking. I'm like, I need to get out of here. It's so gross.
My kid, she's like my mini-me, and she'll rip ass and think it's funny, and she'll be like, aren't you upset? And I'm like, bro, if you knew some of the things I've smelled, this is not going to phase me. And she's like, so I get it. She's gross too for doing that, but I get it.
Yeah.
And then with that high temp,
Oh.
I remember even like the porta-johns, like in Afghanistan, if it was
If
like,
you
we
were
had
to
like
go, you would lose 10 pounds. At least. At least.
our porta-johns were just full of just all kinds of stuff. And that smell just, yeah.
We used to just go off the boats.
That's what I was gonna. Well, I guess not really related, but so you were in Bahrain. Did you? Obviously, you worked it and stuff, but Bahrain is in the Middle East. Did you get to go or travel anywhere cool when you were like? Did you take leave anywhere?
No,
cool?
I only took leave to come home. I think I took like 15 days. I came to see. So I was still with my now husband.
Okay.
And so he was in California
Okay.
and I was in Bahrain. So when I took leave, I went to go see him.
Gotcha.
Disclaimer, military marriages do survive.
Well, we weren't married until we got out of the military
Okay.
for that reason.
Strike that.
Right.
Strike that.
Right. For
Wait
that
till
reason.
after you get out.
Post-military
Hey, but that's why we have a
marriages
strong
survive.
marriage now because
But
we
you guys, like-
lasted through that.
Yeah.
And so
I'm not trying to like rub your back too much, but I really am impressed by how, from what I can tell, great your relationship is with one another.
Mhm.
You guys are truly best friends, and that is huge. Like
Yeah.
I love it
Well,
so heartily.
he was my best friend before we got romantically involved. We ended up falling in love. It is what it is. He was higher ranking, but I spend all day around people who are higher ranking
Yeah.
than me. So, we kept it quiet and just kind of moved on with our lives. And we decided that it was best that we wait till after we get out to get married.
That's
And
amazing.
so we
though.
didn't get married until
Yeah.
2018 when we were both out.
I know
Wow.
part of me wishes he was here too because he's hilarious. And I like
Oh.
even the other day you made a post and I thought like she's so nice. She's complimenting her husband. No, she just wanted to talk about how punchable his face looks. And I'm like, what a dick. But they just have that. They're awesome.
No, yeah.
That's funny.
He's my homie.
Yeah.
For
It's great
sure.
though.
Homie and baby daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're working in the Haba for 3 years in Bahrain.
Well, I was in Bahrain for 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Oh, so you went somewhere else?
Yeah, I left. I finished out my time in Seal Beach, California.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. Where's that at?
It's like,
I mean, I'm assuming the beach. But
yeah, it's like right outside of Long Beach, California.
Okay.
So it's in Orange County.
Okay.
The sickest place I've ever been.
Like, yeah.
It was amazing.
Mine was the Driftwood. It was outside of Camp Lejeune. It was in a dance club that's no longer exists.
Yeah.
But that was a great place.
It's a weapons depot. And so smaller ships would unload, offload their weapons, and we would secure them, whether they were going or coming from deployment.
Cool.
So it was really small. There was no barracks. There was no NEX. There was nothing. We used El Segundo, which was north of us. It was a Air Force base. We went there for like our medical, anything like that. So it was very small, but I made a lot of money because I was in Orange County.
So
BAH is
was
based on the
good,
county.
Yeah, based on the county,
And
which
that's
I
like
think
a real ritzy area.
Oh, it's like
too.
I think it was like at the time it was like second highest that you could get in the States.
Oh wow.
So I got this studio apartment that I found on Craigslist. Thank God he was
Not a serial killer.
not a creeper or serial killer. He's actually a retired firefighter.
Okay.
And I was still in Bahrain, and I was like, hey, this is really right down from the base. Like it's half of my BAH. It's only me. It was like 600 square feet. I had my own private entrance. It was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It was so awesome.
It is cool.
And he was like, well, don't they give you housing? And I'm like, yeah, but like I don't have kids or a husband, so it's just me. It worked out well.
Right.
That's dope.
So you were there 2 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years. That sounds about right.
And what rank did you get out as?
E5. So I had left a couple weeks before I could take the E6 test.
Gotcha. And
So
then
you
you
had
would
to
have
be
to
an
stay in longer.
Yeah, you'd have. So I actually was going to join the reserves, but I didn't want to be an MA
Mhm.
because I wanted to continue my insurance. And they were like, we don't have anything open for you. And I said, well, then I'm not going to stay. Yeah. It's if you guys can't give me what I want at this point, then goodbye.
So how long did you guys move into Fort Wayne? So didn't you say something the other day when we were talking that so he has a previous kid
Mhm.
and that mother was moving here?
Yeah,
You guys
so
wanted
his
to
first
all
marriage.
co-parent?
Yeah, his first marriage. She's an MA too. She's also from Indiana. So they got married and they had my stepson Colt. He's 14, and then they got divorced when they moved to Nevada, and so she came back here to Indiana, and then a year later I met Nick, and then we started our relationship. But she was living down in southern Indiana, but she ended up moving up to Fort Wayne because her new husband got a job here in Fort
Okay.
Wayne. So that's how we ended up here.
And what was your first job then when you came home back
My
here?
first job, I was a program support assistant for the VA.
Okay.
So I was like a secretary.
And how long were you at the VA for?
After that, I was the public affairs officer for the VA. And so I just left that position in this October. So 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
Dang. That's a long time though.
Yeah.
What made you like want to get involved or work with the VA? What spurred you to go?
Well,
that
I
way?
loved the military.
Okay.
I had such a great time. And so when I got out, I still kind of wanted that camaraderie, that brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it. So I was like, I'll work for the government. And then got in and then decided to get my degree in marketing, and that's how I became public affairs.
Okay.
So when you started at the VA, the Fort Wayne VA, I'm assuming, had they already begun like all the renovations? Because it's turned out to be a tremendous campus.
Oh yeah.
Here?
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, so
like,
they-
it wasn't always that way.
Yeah, they were
Oh, it
in the
looked like
early
a haunted
stages.
retirement home.
Yeah, they were in the early stages. And then the 6 years I was there, I can't even tell you how many groundbreakings we had for
Sure.
the new clinics.
Right.
They opened up the one in Kokomo. They opened up
You had that Seabach in Mishawaka
the
too recently.
Mishawaka. So that happened right before I got there. I think it was
Okay.
like 2016. Then they opened up the Peru Seabach. So lots and lots of renovations, upgrades. They opened up the 4th floor, all sorts of things.
Did you have to? Did
I
you?
love it, dude.
Did you have to learn? Like, what did you have to learn for that first job with the VA? Like, you're doing technology, like.
No, so I was like a secretary
That's
for.
what I was thinking.
That's what-
dude.
yeah, right?
I
Like,
worked
I'm
with the
picturing
patient
it.
advocates.
Okay.
So the ones that like take your complaints.
And throw them in the shredder, because that's what we feel like really happens with those at the VA.
They try.
No, I'm
They
kidding.
try.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well,
We love
it's
the VA.
it's
They have that federal shredding company come every day, I feel like, on that truck.
I feel bad for those guys. Those guys take a beating. Could you imagine coming to work every single day and everything you hear is just how bad the complaints are or whatever? That's kind of like a
But
daunting
that's
job.
our life in a way, because obviously I have a love-hate relationship with the VA. Like, I think most vets that are our age is like, ugh.
Right.
But I'm a huge advocate for them because it can't get better unless you champion for it to get better.
Right.
So I'm always dealing with vets, and it's like, yeah, I'm here to help you, but I'm going to tell you about the VA, and they're like, I don't want to hear it. I'm like, so do you just want to complain about your problems, or do you want to do something about your problems? And I mean, yeah, I've had my fair share of headaches with the VA, but it's no one's responsibility but myself to get the care that I deserve.
Right.
So I'm going to keep bugging the VA till I get what I need instead of just on Facebook about it. So
yeah, you have to be a champion of your own
yeah,
medical histories and medical questions, because
Well,
if you don't push for it, you know, there's a lot of veterans. We see 45,000 veterans plus a year. So, and you know, it's the government. It's not perfect, but it is getting better.
I always tell a lot of vets, because if you're a veteran, you had two roles. You either were taking orders or you were giving them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of vets we deal with, I always say they have a child syndrome. They were so used to everyone telling them what to do. And so then when it comes to their own medical and stuff and they get out, they're not used to having to be in charge of themselves. And it's like, that's the problem.
Yeah,
You have to fight for what you want.
Right.
It's not the VA's job.
absolutely.
So
And we're
they
dealing with
hate
like
it.
very different demographics, right? 70% of the veterans are Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
And they have, you know, issues with technology, all of our online programs.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk to a doctor virtually. They want to come in there face to face.
Yeah.
Then you've got our generation who is willing to innovate, I guess. So it's like either they're going to do it or they're not going to do it.
Yep. Yeah, I just had a missed call today because I missed my dang therapy, but everything was texting. Like, do you want to go to your appointment? Yes.
Those-
But it's always like,
was
do you
great.
want to go to your appointment? Why 71
Yeah, why
or
36?
in 23?
Yeah.
And it's like, where do those come from?
I think they're doing
Wait, maybe
so
you know. Where do those funky numbers come from?
No, I think it's because you have to actually apply to say, like, you didn't accidentally say yes. You intentionally said yes if you typed Y36.
It's whatever the system puts out.
But
So
it's
when
a
the
different
system,
number every single time.
Yeah, I'll pull up mine, dude. It just
I don't even
happened.
respond to them anymore.
It's like a code. Like, you ever ask for confirmation, like when you go to sign into your Gmail account or to your bank or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
like
what
that?
it is. Yes.
Yeah,
Huh.
literally yesterday. Did you attend your recent VA community care appointment on December 3rd? If you did attend, reply Y37. If you did not attend, reply N38, blah, 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 blah. So then I said Y37, and yeah, I love it though. Because before they would call, and I don't want to talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
see, I like the new prescription messages that we're getting.
I order mine now too
That's
from my
what
phone.
I'm saying. Well, it's a reminder.
I just got
And
a
it sends
I
it
just
to
got a
me.
phone call today about some prescription.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now to like only refill my prescriptions, it reminds me because
Yeah.
I constantly forget. I just hit Y and my prescriptions come to me on time. Thank God.
It's great. What a time to be alive, right?
Yeah, literally.
I always get the one 45 minutes before my appointment that's like, have you arrived? And I'm like, nah, because I have 45 minutes.
I-
Like, I'll be there on time. Don't
I'll be
worry.
45
I'm a psycho.
minutes.
I'm like you though. You showed up 40 minutes early.
Yeah.
That's me in the parking lot just waiting.
That's me. I'm sitting everywhere early, like scoping out the whole lot, watching
But then
people
the
walk in and
second
out.
it's like 3 p.m., right?
like I'm pulling security,
and
like
my
5s and
appointment is,
25s.
and at 3:01, if they haven't told me to come back, I'm annoyed. But it's also my fault because I've been there for an hour waiting like an idiot.
It just
Yeah.
depends.
You're getting mad, but
Yeah.
they're not late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I've
what's
been
you
here
were
going
just
for
on?
insanely
45
early.
minutes just sitting and waiting.
So you worked at the VA for 6 years.
Yes.
Eventually you went to PR
Yes.
and you liked it.
I loved it.
And that was with the other Nick,
Yeah.
but not husband Nick.
Yeah, my coworker's
Smith.
Nick Smith, yeah.
And what does that look like? Like, what's PR for the VA? What are your
So
roles and
we
responsibilities?
maintained like the websites, the Facebooks. We did the veteran town halls, the employee town halls. A lot
That's
of
how
the,
I met her.
Really?
a lot of the notifications and stuff that go out. We do military birthdays, the groundbreaking ceremonies. We do the congressional visits when they come and visit their federal building.
I had no idea who she was. And it wasn't until like a year ago it connected, but anytime we would present a check to the VA, we would bring like our own jumbo check, or the VA would, and she was always in the photo op. Her and that guy with the goatee that was like the temporary, Director
Tony
for a while.
Colon, he was our old director.
yeah. So that's how, and then I started going back through pictures. I'm like, that's freaking her. What the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
And then I was
she's
like,
either
wait,
Secret Service or
I was like,
like
I've
she
met
works
her
here.
before.
Yeah, well, we just did a lot of I think I met you at the women's health event is when I first met you.
That's the first time we actually formally introduced.
Okay.
Because I gave you a check in like 2018.
Yeah. You
'Cause-
guys,
and
you
then
guys did a lot for us. You
lot
guys
during
bought us
COVID.
the COVID iPads for our
Yeah.
inpatient veterans.
We bought you guys all face shields.
Yeah.
And then we donated money to your homeless division, and we used to bring turkeys and stuff to the kitchen to pass out to the homeless. The iPad thing meant a lot because we had gotten a complaint that a vet was getting ready to pass, and he was
His family
isolated.
couldn't come see him. Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him see him.
because
So
of the restrictions.
So we bought
That's- yeah,
the
it was
VA
during the height
iPads
of
so they could
COVID.
FaceTime from like the lobby or something
That's
and say
awesome.
goodbye.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we knew we'd never get the iPads back because of COVID. We don't want that. So we're
Right.
just like, every time I would see you at the check, I'm like, what the fuck
Yeah.
you do?
You guys did a lot for us.
Yeah, but then I saw you at the women's event. Was it this year? I think, because I just came back. So I just
believe
been
so.
on the streets like a,
Yeah, because the mayor came to talk.
oh yeah, Tucker. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and this is not funny, but what was ironic about that is there was so I always get crap for not joining like someone's Legion or VFW. And I support all of you. I don't want to be a member of any one. But there was next to the VSO, there was a VFW booth from Toledo. And there was an old lady. She probably was like 55, 60. If she ever watches this, I'm sorry if I was wrong about your age. But I could
45,
I could
46.
tell something was wrong with her, right? And here she is at a veteran event, right, to help sign up vets. And so I just do what I do best, and are you okay? And she was like, oh, I'm fine, you know, have a great day. And I could tell it struck her because like 30 minutes later, she came and tracked me down, and she's like, hey, can we talk? And I'm like, oh shit, what do I do now? And she's like, I'm struggling mentally. Do you have a moment? And I was like, yeah. And I didn't yell at her, but I'm like, why are you here? You just thought about suicide 30 days ago, and now you're at this. Who's helping you? And so, yeah, that's why I love going to those events, because people are always struggling, and you'd be surprised. And it's so important to spark those conversations. So to tie it back into what we were talking about, I kept seeing your freaking picture on the check. Then I think I had met you because Nick just got that brand new VA truck or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think I reached out to you, and I know your determination and your success. And I think we've formed a pretty good friendship over the last few months. And now you're not at the VA now. And you're DFAS?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
what
I
is
do same thing. I work in PR. I'm not important.
So do they have a branch up here? Because I'm thinking of the one in Indy.
Yeah. So I work out of that one, but
Yeah.
but
Wait,
there's
in Indy?
yeah, it's kind of like a hybrid thing, so I don't have to go down there every
Okay.
Bro,
every
check this
day.
out. You were at Texturactive. She was in training in Indy, left to come to Texturactive, and then drove back to Indy that night to go back to her orientation.
That's dedication.
That's why she will be FW22 next year.
I love that.
Well, I think what you guys do is absolutely incredible.
What we do.
Agree.
What everybody does.
What you guys started.
Yeah, what you guys have started.
Raising awareness. and-
In your garage and what it has turned into. That's why I'm dressed up, honestly. It's amazing what you guys are doing for our veterans in the community. And
Well, the first 10 years were great, but these next 10 years with you guys' support and participation is going to be wild.
yeah.
Because
Well, you guys are blowing up.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
going to happen.
And think about it. Literally, you guys were like, wouldn't you say your garage or your shed or
We
something?
were getting drunk on Jameson like we do and cleaning guns.
That's what I'm saying.
And we
And
were
like
just
what
pissed
it
off
has
about
turned
suicide.
into. Yeah,
Combination.
you should.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
good to know that the
You should
Army's
be
a lot
very-
like the
you should be
Marines.
very proud.
Well, you know, it's crazy. I always think about, you know, so he never deployed, and I'm happy he didn't, because I never wish that. He's literally, and I just talked to my business coach yesterday, and she was like, you know, Tyler this, Tyler that, like, who you always talk about Tyler. And I said, I have two things in life that pushed me so hard for this: my daughter and Tyler, right? And I've known him since second grade, so he literally is like my bestest friend, and I'm happy. Like, he always regrets that he never went to combat. I am grateful, because I don't want him to have the issues I do. But what was really crazy about that is he never deployed. His friends were killing themselves. And I deployed, and my friends were killing ourselves. And so us being shit-faced, cleaning guns, what are we going to do about this? Like, this is crazy. And it really was his idea because of that movement of irreverent warriors. And we had no idea this would be what it was. Our first year, it was just to get shit-faced and hike.
Right.
And we hiked for like,
You were talking about the camaraderie.
Yeah.
That's all that it was. Is
Yeah.
let's just get people together that miss being back in the barracks and shooting the shit with everyone back like when we were in.
yeah.
Let's just
We
get
didn't.
everyone
Yeah,
together.
we didn't care what your
We'll
problem
drink some
was.
beer. We'll go
And-
rock.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Just hang out.
And I
Yeah.
want to point out, because so I listened to JP Donnell a lot. He was under Jocko Willink
Yeah.
and Navy SEAL, amazing person. I got to meet him.
Dude, every time. That's my background.
And
Jocko.
so I love listening to JP. And he says, and he couldn't put it any better, and that's why I have to give him the credit. When people sign up for any branch, they're raising the right hand and swearing to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what their duty assignment's going to be. They don't know where units are in cycles for deployment. They don't have any input in that early on, right? And for some people, even throughout while they're in, they don't get to choose.
They'll never get
Maybe
to
if you
choose.
re-enlist for it or something like that's out of the ordinary. Otherwise, you're just following your assignments. So the fact that people are answering the call, young men and women, and are willing to say, I'm ready to serve, like that's it right there. And, you know, to beat yourself up or feel guilty any type of way, it's like you went everywhere they told you to go. You did everything you were told to do. You served honorably. Like, what more could you ask for out of somebody? Because that still makes up less than 1% of our population that's willing to do that and answer that call.
And we were babies.
That's what
I
I'm
know.
saying.
We were babies.
That's why I almost
know.
wore that hoodie that my GWAT kids won.
Yeah.
Even though like everyone's always like, what is that?
I love that hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always tell people, but yeah, not to be weird, I am grateful. He'll never admit I'm happy he didn't, because I'm like a big, strong warrior, right? But that was some scary shit we saw and did. I could never wish that to someone I love wholeheartedly. And on the flip side, I get like where he'd be coming from. Like, you know, but you serve your country.
I don't know if it's a man
everything.
thing. I feel like it's more with you guys than it is the women, right? Like you guys want to go out and blow stuff up and be on
he was
deployment.
already.
I don't know.
Artillery.
I don't know
That
why.
was what
I don't know why you guys
enjoyed.
have that. It's just like some male thing inside of you.
Yeah.
But you see it with a lot of the older generations too. Well, they won't come get VA care or do something or think that they're worthy of that service because they didn't go to combat.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot with the Vietnam veterans.
Yeah.
Actually, you see it with all eras.
And correct me if I'm wrong. At least I don't feel like I am. I want to say I know I'm not, but I'm not going to make that declaration. Someone going and getting care from the VA isn't taking care away from another veteran.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
It's
no.
giving
Like,
us more money.
Yeah,
So
you're
we
only
get,
helping.
they get so
Yes.
many dollars per veteran that comes in the door.
And
right?
so,
So if you're enrolled with us, we're getting that money. They're called Vera dollars, and that's just more money that you're bringing on to veterans who do need the care.
yes.
That's why I did. Go and enroll.
Absolutely.
'Cause
So it's
I
not
was
taking away
like-
care. It's bringing care
yes.
to the
like,
VA.
Every person that's in their system, they get more money for. So.
Yes.
And how many times, right? Like we have friends, you know, a lot of people I'm super close to and who experience traumatic stuff is like, yeah, but other guys were like way worse. And it's like, same in the addiction recovery culture. Quit looking for the differences and look for the similarities. It doesn't matter if there was worse than yours. We all have our experiences. We came from different walks of life.
But you have to take care of yourself.
Yes, 100% you do. And you're not taking away from anybody else. So
I can't tell you how many vets I literally walk to the VSO. I'm the same way, and I'm still working on going through the hoops because they won't stop harassing me, but I didn't want that. I don't want it. Right? I didn't earn it, or my friends. But the money I get, I'm putting back into my community. And when the VA does their audits, that's more money that they need because of more vets that are getting help. So realistically, I'm only helping my community and helping the VA. And I just need to put away my pride and be like, I deserve this. I'm entitled to it, and I earned it. Whether I deployed or didn't.
Too, when you get out, how badly it messes up your body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know now.
From physical, mental, you know, I'm 30 years old and I'm dealing with 50-year-old woman problems right now.
Yeah.
And it's because I just, you know, I didn't see combat, but I had heavy gear on constantly. Just being an MP, right? I was on my hips. It was on my back. It was, and so now, you know, again, I'm dealing with 50-year-old lady problems that I shouldn't be experiencing. And why? Because
I was say something so funny.
Because I was in the, you know, in the military. So you got to take care of it now before it gets out of hand.
I'm dying. I was going to say something about what you told me about Nick the other day.
What?
About the slow. Your Nick. he was so happy because you started doing the slow.
Oh,
And I was like, that's why you're doing it slow, because you have a 50-year-old body now. You're not as. So it was wild.
you're an idiot.
I wish he was here so bad. I can't wait to honestly meet
We'll
him.
come back.
No, I love that. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I mean, he already he has no choice. He's stuck with Allendale. Allendale is part of us. Like but next year, which is less than 30 days away, like the direction we're going, the direction I will make sure that we're headed is nothing shy of being the standard here in our hopefully state of veteran care as a nonprofit. But it's people like you and you that I will be bringing on, because you guys are also the standard. And I want Tyler and I to have a room full of warriors and winners. And so I know you're like, oh, I can't wait to have you guys' TikTok and all that. That's great. What I care about is your passion, your determination, and the way you fight for what you want. I mean, E5 in 3 years. There's only two ways you're getting that. So one of them is from being a badass. The other one, not a badass. You're a badass. And like, I'm so blessed that you're in my life as not just as my friend, but as a fellow veteran. And I'm excited to see what you as a woman can bring on to our organization to help other women, because women are taking over the military.
Yeah, we're the fastest growing population.
Exactly. And that means the next 5 years, those are going to be our future clients as they're getting out.
Yes. And I love that you said that, Jared, because a lot of times we can be very heavily male.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And you guys, it always will be.
Yes.
Heavier
But I mean,
male.
like on these platforms
Right.
and like going to events and, like I'm thinking of my team and, the women that are a part of our team. And I love it. I love the balance, and I love how, just personable they are, and like they soften up, like I'm standing beside my boss and we're both, straight face, looking like the Grinch, and they're like all big smiles, and people come up and talk to us. And so having you be a part of that, and maybe there's a woman out there, veteran, that, was a little apprehensive about reaching out, maybe from an experience, maybe whatever it is. And now with you aboard, they're like, you know what, I feel comfortable. I want to talk to Alex. I want to reach out, and that bridges that gap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, my biggest undertaking is just keep bridging gaps, because the standard's been set. Like I know you guys, my team from Bare Knuckle Recovery, Allendale Forward Recovery, they're killing it. I just had to show up and be like, tell me where you need me. Yeah. Right. Like just tell me what to keep doing that you're already doing amazing. And I'm just going to be a force multiplier. Yeah. Right. And that's what you guys are doing. And so I'm excited to see where this goes also. Yeah,
me too. And you're going to be a great addition. As we wrap up, is there anything else you want to say?
I don't. I just want to thank you.
Look into the camera and like give a word of wisdom to those vets or those soon to be vets that are coming home. What are they doing? Hot ones? This camera, this camera, this camera. Yeah, look at each one don't. That'll be too confusing.
Yeah. Words of wisdom.
Yeah. It could be to the female population. It could be to everybody.
I'm going to say to all the populations.
Everybody.
So I'm going to say it to the people who are in the military. Take advantage of the opportunities. If they offer school, take it. If they offer training classes, take it.
Tuition assistance.
Assistance. Yep. They give you a lot of opportunities while you're still in, and then you're afforded even more opportunities when you get out.
That's right.
You need to take advantage of those because no one's going to push you to do that. And they are going to help you tremendously in your future career once you get out. So that's my words of advice.
If we ever have a female veteran that wants to get a hold of you, do I have permission to send them your way?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Tyler, do you have anything?
I'm good, man.
Well, I want to appreciate, obviously, you, Scott, for being here. Thank you, first time, but won't be the last. And as well as you, Alex, for being here. Definitely won't be your last. I hope you both have a very merry and jolly Christmas.
Same to you.
And a happy New Year.
Thank you.
And I look forward to continuing to forge our brother and sisterhood in 2025.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.